Eason here, and welcome to Metal Monday, where I talk about albums that I might recommend you listen to so you can start your week off right. This week, I will be talking about the latest EP by an Indonesian one-man atmospheric black metal project that is easily a strong contender for all of the best-of lists of 2020. The said EP is Pure Wrath's The Forlorn Soldier. Pure Wrath is one January Hardy whom I hope will forgive me for most likely fucking up the pronunciation of his name. Hailing from Indonesia, this project already has two full-length releases under its belt, the latest being 2018's Sempiternal Wisdom. And The Forlorn Soldier is the latest output of this project. Now, before I start talking about the content of the EP, I just would like to mention one characteristic of said content, and it is that this EP is bursting at the seams with it. Like, seriously, at just 3 tracks and 27 minutes, which renders it a little longer than half the running time of most run-of-the-mill metal albums, The Forlorn Soldier is so full of rich, emotive, immersive, incredible content that it can stand as an album of its own right. Now, it would appear that Mr. Hardy has created this project to be the epitome of the adage, less is more, because seriously, let's get into the music first. The music that you're going to be finding on The Forlorn Soldier is a lush, rich tapestry of tightly woven, intricate, atmospheric black metal. I mean, according to Mr. Hardy himself, his primary influences include Woden's Throne, Winterfeileth, and Saor, so you know what to expect. Now, if the first thing that comes to your head when I say Atmo Black is lush synth textures, a rich tapestry of forlorn riffs, lengthy songs, and evocative images of vast landscapes of nature and such, you would be in the ballpark more or less. Now, in terms of the foundational elements that forge the music, Pure Wrath doesn't really do anything all that different from all the other Atmo Black bands that you have heard of. You have your black metal style, sometimes tremolo-picked riffs, married to equal helpings of lush, rich synth keyboard textures, all that laid over a grumbling bass, laid over black metal style drumming, all that laid under the vocals. Now, in terms of vocals, Pure Wrath decides to take two different routes. One is your more typical black metal style shrieks, but the other can, I think, best be described as operatic, clean vocals. Seriously, at times the vocal sections in The Forlorn Soldier start reminding you of symphonic metal bands, albeit a lot less cheesy and a lot more on point. One thing that is kind of different about the way that the guitars and keyboards are utilized, however, is the equal weight that each one carries within the context of the sound. You see, the production gives equal space and weight to the guitars and the keyboards, as a result of which the songs that utilize both, which means all of the songs, by the way, create this intermingling, thick, lush, heavily textured wall of sound that boxes the listener in. However, as a result of the heavy emphasis being given to the guitars and the keyboards, the drums seem to have suffered a little bit. The drums are somewhat de-emphasized, and as a result, they sound a little bit distant and a little bit weak. This does not mean that you can't hear the drums, that they are less prominent than they are supposed to be. They just could have been a little more front and center, but otherwise, for an album that was produced in a bedroom, and I know that I've been saying that for some of the albums, well, easily half the albums that I cover on this channel, but for an album produced in someone's bedroom, this is an incredibly well done production. The way that the sound is brought together also plays into the musical arrangements, which creates a sort of symbiotic relationship between the two, where both complement one another and put together the whole that Pure Wrath seems to want to convey. And what is meant to be conveyed on this album is devastation, but not in the sense of inducing it in the listener. In contrast to some of the more depressive albums that I've covered on this channel and some of the more depressive albums that I have heard, the Forlorn Soldier does not seem to aim to devastate you personally, but instead to lay bare before you the devastation wreaked by war. War isn't exactly a foreign theme for black metal. I mean, just throw a stone at a pool of black metal bands and chances are you're gonna hit one that uses war as a general theme or has used it at some point. But what Pure Wrath does with it is kind of different. The inspiration point for the Forlorn Soldier comes from the 1965-1966 mass killings that took place in Indonesia, also known as the Indonesian Genocide, where the Indonesian army was pitted against the Communist Party of Indonesia. But this type of conflict is really prone to getting out of hand, which it did, and by the end of this 1 year period, not only had Indonesia transformed into a dictatorship, it is estimated that somewhere between 500,000 and as much as 3 million people were killed. So when I say that if I had to describe the music contained within the Forlorn Soldier in one word, that would be poignant, know that I mean it. In trying to create as complete and as three-dimensional a picture as possible of the darkest time in his country's history, Pure Wrath transcends the realm of just music and breaches into the cinematic. In point of fact, it is actually possible to take each of the songs as one of the 3 acts of a movie that you are not actually seeing, but listening to and living through. The Forlorn Soldier sets the stage and sets things in motion with the in medias res opener, When a Good Man Dies. This track is about the family of a man who has disappeared, at least from the family standpoint. In reality, the man has been kidnapped, tortured, and by the end of his ordeal, killed, which the family does not know until the very end of the track, which concludes with a lament by his mother who misses him terribly. The song wastes no time with useless preambles, stage-setting Foley sounds, or ambient passages. It just launches right in. When a Good Man Dies also stands out in the tracklist because of the presence of Dice Medianti of the band Victorian, who adds piano flourishes to the Atmo Black proceedings. This dance of the overall music, the guitars, keyboards, drums, and the screams and piano is incredibly well done, and it paints a vivid picture of longing and sadness. Another thing about When a Good Man Dies is the seamless way in which it transitions to the second track, Children of the Homeland. So seamless that at first couple of listens, I could have sworn that this EP was comprised of just 2 tracks. Children of the Homeland seems to focus on the ordeal that the Forlorn Soldier has gone through in his time of captivity. It features a little bit more interplay in terms of music, whereby more aggressive, faster, more desperate sections seem to be playing hooky with more lamenting, almost dirge-like, almost funerary, slower sections. With the final track, With Their Names Engraved, the EP jumps beyond the news that has been delivered to the family and to the aftermath of the killings. The song actually plays out like an extended funeral suite dedicated to fallen soldiers, in that it proceeds with an air of veneration and absolute respect. Now, as you might be gathering, these are highly evocative, highly immersive, and highly emotional arrangements, but all of this might have fallen flat if they weren't also tight. You see, in the realm of lengthy tracks that exceed 5 minutes in terms of length, there are 2 types. The first are tracks that either linger for too long, outstaying their welcome, or feel a lot longer than they are on account of how fucking boring that they are. And then there's the second type, the type that despite its length does not allow you to feel how long it is, it just flows on by. The Forlorn Soldier is comprised entirely of the second type. Not only is the music in The Forlorn Soldier extremely captivating, easily dragging you out of wherever you are and plunging you into its own world, it is also extremely on point, where not a single moment is wasted in pointless posturing, ego-stroking, noodling, or indulging in cliches. These tracks are living, breathing entities that progress from the start to finish, from where they begin to where they end, with the smoothness of fine silk. And this is what I meant when I said this EP was positively bursting with content. All that I have just described fits into just under half an hour. That is more than some bands do with the overabundance of time that they are given. So if by this point you haven't gathered it, let me spell it out for you. You should absolutely listen to this one. If you're a black metal fan, if you're an Atmo black fan, if you just like atmospheric music, if you like the harder, more black adjacent style of doom, if you like music that is emotive, if you are a metal fan that would like to hear more atmospheres and more tangible moods in your music, this one is for you. It's very well written, well performed, well put together. It's short enough that you can actually fit it easily into your lunch break or your morning walk or whatever, and it is one of the most emotive albums that you are going to hear this year. Well, considering that the summer is just beginning, that is quite an assertion, but fuck it, I'm gonna stand by that one. A Bandcamp link to The Forlorn Soldier is right there below. Please go listen, and please consider supporting the artist. For myself, though, I'm just going to put this in my best of list, so at the end of the year when I make that video, when you see this album, don't be surprised. Until next time, hope you have a great week. It's Eason. Peace out.